Here we go then, guys. We're moments away from the start of the Mexico City Grand Prix here at the Purple Sector Formula One League round 20 of this 24-round season for season 13 across all platforms. We're lining up and we're moments away from the 5 red lights going out. So here we go then. Engine revs all rise for just a second and then they'll go deadly silent for a moment before we'll be lights out. And it is lights out, we're underway. And it's a solid start there from Glenn off pole, but G.C. might have been slightly better there off of the line. Saying that though, G.C. has been passed there by Badman, who's on the outside, and looks like we've got T, who's got a bit of slipstream here on the back of the Red Bull of G.C. But G.C. there has managed to hold on for second place ahead of Badman into turn one, as T's managed to hold on ahead of Justify, running in fourth place. In fact, Justify's ghosting there in the background as he stays ahead of Matty Pitt. Matty Pitt's up into sixth place ahead of Drauger, and Scott also following him through as well. So Drauger there down a couple of places here on this opening lap of the race. He's got Rexboy looking to his outside here into the chicane. Rexboy's now going to the inside for the next corner as well, and Rexboy going to be able to complete this move here on the Haas car as he's looking down the inside. Drauger there has losing the space and manages to hold on to the position just about, but interesting opening lap there. Drauger with a disastrous start to the race, but Glenn leading the race by nearly a second ahead of G.C. at the moment. Badman, T and Justify the top 5. There's Matty Pitt ahead of Scott with Drauger, Rexboy, Street Boy and John at the back of the pack there running in P11. But so far so good for the championship leader. 22 points. His gap coming into tonight. His championship rival currently 4 places behind in 5th place. As it stands tonight, he'll be gaining 15 points in the championship and would be 37 points clear going into the final 4 races of the season. But a long way to go here tonight and still a long way to go in this season. But Clen's already got the gap at just over a second here over G.C. So it's looking good for him so far here in this race. We see Badman on the back of G.C. into turn 1. Too far away there going into the first corner. As we see the rest of the pack there filing through your shots at the moment. And looking all good so far from these guys. But Clen's got the gap at just over a second here to G.C. Badman trying to challenge G. in that fight for second place, as there are the rest of them going through the chicane at the moment. And Badman here really looking racy on the back of G.C. on his debut here tonight at the Purple Sector F1 League. Let's not forget, it's a very strong inception so far from what we've seen in the qualifying session, and he's keeping G.C. very much on his toes in these early stages of the race right now. There's John here attacking on the back of Street Boy as well for P10. So this one for a point at the moment. Let's keep half an eye on that as we're coming out of the final corner here. So Badman looking very close to the back of G.C. This is the second place here in this race. Wonder if Badman's able to clear G.C. He might be able to try and chase down Glenn out the front. As we see he's getting a bit closer here down towards turn 1. A little bit too far away to make a move, but he could be shaping up for a move down the second straight into the chicane. As we see G.C. a little bit wobbly there. Badman here onto the power. DRS once again here down this little straight. Is he going to throw one down the inside? Surely he's going to think about it, but just a little bit too far away at the moment and has to hold position for the time being as the top 5 unchanged. And Drauger's here is making a move up the inside there of Scott into 7th place, and has got that one done beautifully. Oh no, it's Rexy Boy there, attacks the rear of Scott, and they're able to get away with it and carry on as they were. And Scott in the end actually waves Rexy Boy through there, so I'm not quite sure if Scott felt some responsibility for that, but seemed to wave him by there through the next corner. So Rexy Boy up into P8 nonetheless. And we see the battle here still raging on for second place, but it's not just for second place. You've got second all the way down to 6th. 5 cars here in a bit of a train, and Badman's trying to apply the pressure here on the back of G.C. And has G.C. managed to get within a second here as Glenn? I think he may well have done. If he has, he'll be able to use that to defend down the start finish straight. No, I don't think he has got DRS, so Badman's now got a great chance. As here we go then, down the start finish straight, it's going to be Badman here to try and take second place away from G.C. and the debutant here is going to go around the outside into turn 1, has the move done before the corner and is into second place there. So a great opening few laps here from Badman. and is right behind the race leader Glenn as well, so he's going to have a good chance here to take the fight to the race leader and championship leader coming into tonight. So great driving so far from Badman. Long way to go here in this race. The whole field is on medium tyres for this one, so it's they're all in the same strategy, or all in the same boat so far anyway. Tyre wear will all be pretty similar across the board, but what they do in their second stints and potentially third stints remains to be seen. As in the meantime, watching here, we've got Scott, who's currently trying to keep to the back of Rexy Boy, but he's got the other Ferrari and John for company here. So this is the fight for 9th place currently raging on, as Scott just doesn't look comfortable at the moment. Every time I see him, his car is sliding around here tonight. I'm wondering if he's got the wrong setup here for this track, or just a setup that doesn't work, because it does not seem very Scott-like here tonight at all. It's very unusual to see him looking out of sorts for sure. Yeah, it's not the Scott that we're used to seeing, but he's trying to keep to the back of Rexy Boy here as they come out of the final corner. In the meantime, Badman is all over the back of Glenn, and it's going to make the move for the lead here into turn 1. Is he? He's going to try and think about it. In the end, a little bit too far back. He's now going to get a second dose of DRS though, down towards turn 4, but Glenn gets a lovely exit there out of the corner. Glenn knew he needed to maximise his run through that section in order to get the drive out of the corner, to have as much of a gap between himself and Badman as he could, and he's done that brilliantly. As Justify here trying to get a cut back here on T, looking into the hairpin, but T holds on to that one for now. But T starting to fall out of the DRS to G.C. G.C. nowhere near Badman, so Glenn and Badman are gapping the rest of them here. G.C. has got T and Justify for company, Matty Pitt as well. So it's a four-way battle here for third place, but they're not in the battle for the win at all, or for the lead, should I say, at this point. Street Boy has picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits, but we're watching the battle for third place right now. Can T get this move done on G.C? The driver second in the train is always the one most likely to make a move with the DRS. As here we go then. Oh, saying that, look at how close Justify is to the back of T. Surely Justify's going to have a good chance, as they've all got DRS on each other. T's got good straight line speed. Look at that, he's flown along. As Badman has made the move for the lead of the race into turn 1. So that's now a job done here for the debutant tonight. What a cracking job he's done in his opening few laps. Glenn is now on the back foot, and Badman's going to get a second dose of DRS down this second straight, and will be able to extend that gap a little bit more here. So he'll be chuffed with that. And Badman is really showing the purple sector drivers here tonight how it's done, as we can see G.C. still keeping T, Justify and Matty Pitt at bay at the moment in this fight for P3. Street Boys moved ahead of Rexy Boy up into 9th place as well. So that's a teammate swap there going on. Although Street Boy's got that penalty, Rexy Boy has not got any penalties so far, as John has come into the pits and has fitted a new set of hard tyres. So he should be able to go a fair way into the race with those. As T's got a 3-second penalty. So that's now 3 drivers with 3-second penalties. G.C.'s got one as well, hadn't spotted that. And that's going to be really hurting G.C. because on the fringes of the podium, you need every second you can. And at this early stage in the race, you really don't want to be picking that up. But nonetheless, Glenn is into the pits, is going for the undercut, has been forced into a very early pit stop here, which is, I think, down to the pressure that Badman's been putting on him here. Badman has been driving an absolutely sensational first few laps here of his debut race, as Justify's made the move now on T into 3rd place. Obviously it's a net 4th with the with Glenn having been into the pits, but Justify can now focus on G.C, who is a net podium place at this point, as he's a little bit too far away down towards turn 4. As in the background there, Matty Pitt looking to the inside of T, but too far away there as he came into the corner, so he's unable to move up into 4th place for the time being. But I'll tell you what, Matty's looking down the inside here, and once again has to just think better of that one. But G.C leading this 4-car train here, fighting over 2nd place, what will be a net podium position. Obviously once everyone's pitted, Glenn was running in 2nd before he came into the pit lane, but Badman doing an absolutely phenomenal job here tonight. Has got a 3-second gap to this quartet, who are still going at it here for 2nd place. So here they come then. Oh, and G.C. now into the pits. So tyre wear really proving to be quite prevalent at this early stage in the race. We've seen Glenn come in on lap 6, just G.C. on lap 7. So's Drauger as well, and Scott. So lots of drivers coming in early on in the race. The medium tyres only lasting 6 or 7 laps. That doesn't bode well for a one stop. Even a 2 stop could be called into question at this rate. What do the hard tyres do? 9-10 laps? I mean, you're looking at probably at least a 2 stop minimum, probably maybe even a 3 stopper here, surely, I would have thought, based on the logic of usually the hard tyres go about 1.5 times longer than the mediums. That's generally been my rule of thumb on F1 games, and it's worked pretty well. So yeah, who knows, unless there's a gap between the compounds. But yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know about Mexico on this game, as Matty's got a 3-second penalty there for track limits. Street Boy has got back ahead of his teammate again there, Rexy Boy. But these guys have got Glenn on the back of him, so Glenn will be wanting to clear the 2 Ferraris as quickly as possible. These guys haven't been in yet, whereas Glenn most certainly has. He's now got a bit of a run here, looking to the inside of Rexy Boy. Rexy Boy's got DRS on his teammate, but Glenn nonetheless is going to be able to make this move, surely. He's now going to be on the outside going into the stadium section, and Glenn there swoops around the outside of Rexy Boy into 6th place, as we see Justify and Matty Pitt both into the pits here at the end of lap 8. Badman and T sticking with it for the time being, and Badman showing no signs of letting up in the lead of the race. Justify and Matty Pitt are now into the pits. Rexy Boy also. So most of the medium runners have been in for their stops. It's now just Badman T and Street Boy. As ever, Street Boy, the driver who continues going away past when the tyres should be done. If he can get to lap 14 or 15 on his medium tyres, he might be able to one stop it here. But he's the driver who one stops when everyone else 2 stops. I wonder tonight, if we see a 3 stop, could Street Boy be the one to do a 2 stop? That would certainly be an achievement. But Badman is currently out the front with a 6.5 second lead over T. Glenn currently running in 3rd place, about 15 seconds off for the lead at the moment, and lapping a lot quicker than Badman on his fresh tyres. But maybe Badman is hoping to do less pit stops than Glenn tonight. If he can do that, then he could have a bit of a trump card here. And Badman is now into the pits. So Badman, after going 3 laps longer than his rival for this race win, is now into the box. Glenn's coming through the final corner, so we'll reassume the race lead. T also in, so that now means it's just Street Boy who's still on the medium tyres that he started the race on, and Street Boy now comes in as well. So that's now everybody having been into the pits at least once in this race for some new shoes. And we see Badman coming out of the pits now, just behind G.C. and Justify. And Justify all over the back of G.C. into turn 1, but just a little bit too far away at the moment. We can see Matty having to defend from Drauger into turn 1, although Matty on fresher tyres. Did he just overtake him? I'm not quite sure. I haven't been following that one. I could be completely misguided on that one, so if I am, I do apologise there, Matty. Yeah, currently Matty there running just ahead of Drauger there in P5. Justify though is sticking quite close here to the back of G.C. and both of these two on freshish tyres, but Justify on the mediums, so he'd, I'm sure, be hoping to clear G.C. as quickly as possible. We'll have less duration on these tyres, but potentially could have a lot more pace as well. So these two currently 5 seconds behind the race leader Glenn, but Justify will be looking to do everything possibly can here to try and finish ahead of Glenn, being his championship rival, and a little bit up the road at the moment. But here we go then. So Justify is now going to have DRS down the start finish straight. This will also help him to close in a bit on Glenn as well, because he'll get extra straight line speed. And Justify now getting closer and closer to the back of G.C. But G.C.'s got very good straight line speed, hasn't he, I'll tell you, and is able to hold his own despite Justify having DRS down the straight. And Justify will get another dose of DRS down here, but is not close enough to really put G.C. under any real pressure at this point. So Justify potentially being held up a little bit here behind the Red Bull. But the big thing here is that because G.Cedar and Justify came in a lap or two earlier than Badman, they did get the undercut here. So Badman has lost out enormously through the pit window. I wonder if Badman made a mistake on the outlap, because he is nowhere compared to where he was before. I know obviously he's coming 3 laps later than G.Cedar, but it could just be the undercut. It could well be the undercut. He has lost out massively here, and he'll be wanting to clear these guys as quickly as possible. Justify still stuck behind the Red Bull of G.Cedar at the moment as they come into the stadium section. He's going to look for a cutback here just to get him a little bit closer. He doesn't want to make the move here, because if you make the move there, then you give your opponent the DRS down the straight. So here we go. Justify has got to make the DRS work this time around. He's got a queue of cars behind him waiting to capitalise if he doesn't. And I tell you what, he's not really close at all. And there's Badman now making the move up the inside. And Badman might be able to make 2 moves in the space of a couple hundred metres here, as he now looks down the inside of G.Cedar as well into turn 1. G.Cedar misses the apex there, gives him the space on the inside, could see the potential threat of the Sauber driver coming. And Badman can't make the move here on the exit of the first sector. So for the time being, G.Cedar clings on to second place. But Badman there moving ahead of Justify. And now Matty Pitt is all over the back of Justify as well. And he's looking to make the move up the inside. And has made that one stick there as well as Matty Pitt. Although Justify now looking for a cut back into the hairpin. It's not going to make that one happen. And Matty Pitt has made the move back up into 4th place here. So Justify going backwards a little bit on this lap. And this is not what Justify needs in the championship battle. Klen has now got a pretty substantial lead here out the front. So it's looking at the moment like Klen is going to be coming away from this circuit here tonight with a pretty big lead here in the championship standings. G.Cedar running in second place at a Badman who has been fighting it out so far here tonight really impressively. And Badman now with the DRS is going to surely make this move here on G.Cedar into turn 1 up the inside. Slightly ahead there coming into the apex, and Badman there is into second place without any further ado. So Badman here with 3 lap fresher tyres than Klen will have a bit of an advantage over the next few laps, but is it going to be enough to really make any inroads here? He might have to look to the final stint for that. But race could certainly still be on here. 6.5 seconds the gap with Badman with a 3 lap tyre delta here on his rival for this race win. But has certainly lost out quite a bit here in the pit window. G.Cedar going to try and stick to the back of Badman here through this final sector. Gap just creeping over 8 tenths, almost a second here. So if Badman can break the second barrier through the stadium section, which I think he has done, then G.Cedar won't be able to challenge him down the straight. So I think Badman is safe in second place and should now be able to chase after the leader Klen. So now G.Cedar's got pressure here from behind. Matty Pitt driving a really strong race. He's had a disastrous qualifying, but he's been looking pretty good here in these in the first few laps here of this race, as he's got DRS but a little bit too far away on G.Cedar into turn 1. Justify Scott and Drauger here. So it's basically the 7 drivers who are kind of in the battle for the podiums. 6 drivers in the battle for the podium. But Klen has absolutely skipped off down the road. Badman surely got to have a chance here with the freshest tyres out of anyone. And seemingly so far has had the best pace. Oh, and Klen has got a penalty. So Badman will be seeing that on the graphics, on the on his telemetry, and now will be feeling a bit of a boost from that, because that now gives him the impetus here to close the gap to under 3 seconds. If he can do that, he will be the race winner here tonight. So it's now in Badman's hands, or a little bit more in Badman's hands at this stage in the race. In the meantime, we've got Matty Pitt trying to chase down G.Cedar in this fight for the podium as they come out of the final corner here. So Matty Pitt's going to get the DRS here down the straight. And is he going to have a chance here to make the move on G.C. He's still a little bit too far away there. Scott has got ahead of Justify now, up into 5th place as well. So Justify really is going backwards at this point. Those medium tyres not working for him at all. Matty Pitt certainly enjoying the medium tyres more than Justify's. But yeah, Justify's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time throughout this stint. And drivers have just been going past him. It's quite a mind-boggling situation here as we see Rexy Boy moving ahead of his Ferrari teammate Street Boy up into 9th place. Gap is coming down bit by bit here between Clen and Badman. It's now well under 6 seconds. G.C.'s picked up another penalty here. Scott and Justify both picking up penalties at the same time. So drivers are seeing the driver cutting the corner in front of them or copying the driver in front of them's braking point, and that's obviously what's leading to these chain penalties. One driver who is not falling for these sort of antics, maybe because he's not near any other drivers, is Badman, because he's 5 seconds behind the leader Clen, but he's got a 2.5 second gap to the battle for the podium between G.C. Matty Pitt and Scott. Scott now starting to get a bit of steam here as he's looking down the inside of his teammate. Up into 4th place he goes without any major issues there, and can now try and put the pressure on the Red Bull of G.C. for the 3rd position here. And he'll get another dose of DRS to try and bring himself within that sort of range. So Scott here starting to get into a bit of a gear here. After not, honestly, in the first couple of laps he was really struggling. He was down in about 9th place after the first couple of laps, but he's done a good job since then of getting himself into a rhythm. Came in for a early-ish pit stop, but not that early, about a lap after the first driver to come in, which was Clen. Clen isn't really showing too much signs of worn tyres, despite having the oldest tyres out of anyone. His tyres aren't that much older than everyone else's, but there's a definite delta there. But Clen at the moment looking in cruise control here. 5 seconds to gap over Badman. Badman is bringing the gap down, there's absolutely no doubt. But whether he'll get that gap down to under 3 seconds before we get to the final pit stops remains to be seen. And also one crucial thing is when do they both come in as well, because Clen could get a bit of an undercut, and then obviously that will swing back in the favour of Badman in the second stint, or if they both come in at the same time, obviously Clen would have to go a lot longer in this middle stint if that were the case, but then they'd be even in terms of their tyre situation for that final stint. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. As Drauger has moved ahead of Street Boy up into 9th place. Scott trying to cling to the back of G.C. at this point, but G.C. has managed to break away by about a second here, so really is looking to try and assert his position here in 3rd place. We've got Matty Pitt still clinging to the back of Justify as well, as Drauger's moved ahead of Rexy Boy up into 8th place at the end of the straight down towards turn 4, so Drauger's got that one done. And look at Street Boy here looking to try and maybe join in this battle with his teammate as well, as these two have been running pretty much nip and tuck for the entire race so far. But in the meantime, the gap at the front is down to 4.2 between Clen and Badman. And Scott here is trying to cling to the back of G.C. in the fight for 3rd place. We've got Matty Pitt moving ahead of Justify up into 5th as well. So Matty doing a good job here so far in this race of making some good progress here. Scott there was looking to the inside of G.C. but too far away just at the moment to really put him under any pressure. Scott there looking to the inside of G.C. towards the stadium section we go once again. He's going to have a decent chance here as Scott this time around, as G.C. did not look good at all there going through the exit of the stadium. So now Scott is going to be in a prime position here with the gap at only 0.4 of a second. DRS open here for the Mercedes. He's going to get closer and closer to the back of G.C. Now he's going to put him under real pressure here, down towards the braking zone. He looks to the inside, and Scott is going to make this move here into third place. Up the inside he goes into turn one, and that is the job done there for Scott into the podium places. And he's got less penalties than G.C. as well. I think G.C.'s got 2 penalties compared to Scott just the 1. As we see Matty and Justify both in to putting the hard tyres on. So I wonder if these two are going to try and go to the end from here. As we see Drauga here moving ahead of Justify, but staying behind Matty. So Matty fresh out of the pits, so is Justify, and Drauga there splitting those two for the time being. But Justify surely here. This is the first real point in this championship run-in where we're starting to see the momentum really starting to swing in the favour of Glenn at this point. Until now, Justify kept the gap within 1 race win, but as it stands, Glenn will be breaking free of that. And it'll be a real psychological boost here for him, although he might not necessarily get the race win. He's almost guaranteed to outscore his championship rival, but we've got Badman here who's currently only 4 seconds behind Clem, and Clem with a 3-second penalty as well. So could definitely be a threat to Clem's race victory here tonight. We've got Scott and G.C. fighting over third place as they go into turn 1. And G.C. is going to get another dose of DRS here. So G.C. hasn't fallen off of Scott despite Scott making the move. A lap ago. G.C. still keeping him on his toes here at the moment in the fight for 4th place. Let's have a look at Drauga. He's breezing past Matty Pitt down the start finish straight up into P6 goes Drauga. Matty will have his tyres up to temperature now, but Drauga on his 4-lap old tyres made that one look quite easy. But Matty Pitt will now be looking to try and go for the immediate response here. He's not going to do it into this corner because you get 2 doses of DRS down the not just the main straight but also that second straight as well. So it's very advantageous, the DRS around this track. And partly I think that's down to the fact that there's not much of a slipstream around this track due to the altitude. The air resistance isn't that strong, and as a result, obviously the slipstream, the main thing that slipstream negates is air resistance. So if you haven't got much of it in the first place, it's not going to make much of a difference. But Claire nonetheless out of the pits and off and away again, so he will be coming out in a second. But yeah, obviously the atmosphere, the air much thinner at this sort of altitude, and that's one of the reasons why the slipstream doesn't really have the sort of effect that you would expect around most circuits. But Claire nonetheless coming into the pits, or coming out of the pits now into the turn 1, as we see Matty moving ahead of Drauga again down the start finish straight into P6, and Justify still waiting in the wings behind these guys. And there's going to be a DRS galore here down this next straight again. And here we go. So Justify now looking all over the back of Drauga, and into the chicane we go, and that's Justify up the inside, up into 7th place, and now can focus on Matty Pitt just up ahead. So Justify making that move there with Drauga, obviously the victim of being the leader of the trio, coming out of the final corner, and obviously is now the rear gunner of the trio as they're coming around the middle sector of the next lap. So it really is a bit of a ball ache if you're leading through a 3-car train or something. You're almost certainly going to lose 2 positions in that scenario where you're in such a close train of cars, as we see Scott coming into the pits here at the end of lap 21. But it's been an exciting race so far. Justify still on the back of Matty as they're coming down the start finish straight. There is Scott just up ahead of them. So they haven't managed to get the undercut here on Scott, who's still in a very strong position here in this race for a podium position. It's got to have a very good chance here, you'd have to say. Now, I reckon the hard tyre runners probably are all going to go to the end from here, but it's not 100%. But penalties are going to be key to the context of this race. So well into the second half of this Mexico City Grand Prix, we can see Rexy Boy and Street Boy battling again, the two Ferraris giving it absolutely everything here as Rex Boy was made that move into the chicane, and Street Boy tried to go for a cutback into the hairpin, but Rex Boy had him covered. Rex Boy with no penalties, his teammate with 6 seconds worth, as Matty Pitt has got his third penalty of the evening and is now on 9 seconds. So the penalties have been coming in thick and fast for our league owner here tonight. And that will not be what he would have wanted, I'm pretty sure about that. As we see Glenn there making the move there on T up into third place. Obviously T still yet to make his final stop. But Glenn within 15 seconds of the leader Badman, who's got to come in for his final stop at some point. But we'll probably have a little bit of a delta on Glenn in the final stint. It was going to be at least 2 laps. And Glenn having to negotiate a little bit of traffic would maybe help Badman a little bit, but then Badman might have some traffic of his own here unless he comes in on the same lap as T, in which case he might have a relatively clear passage here. So Badman here coming into the final part of the lap here. He's got 14 seconds to Glenn. If he comes in now, it'd be about 4 or 5 seconds behind him. Now could be a really good time to pit here for Badman, and he is coming into the pit. So race leader is in at the end of lap 23. So it's going to be a 13 lap stint to the end here for Badman. G.C. staying out for the time being. What about T? Does T stay out? Because if not, T could be could hold up the race leader, or the was race leader Badman. He looks like T is staying out, so Badman is going to have to potentially pass T. Although saying that he's a little way behind him, he might not catch him before the end of this lap. So if T comes in at the end of this lap, then Badman might be spared the inconvenience of having to overtake him. But the gap is about 7 seconds between Glenn and Badman at this point. And I believe a 2-lap tyre delta. Oh, it's a 3-lap tyre delta. Wow. I didn't realise that Glenn had come in on lap 20. I thought it came in at lap 21. So yeah, a 3-lap tyre delta here in favour of Badman. So basically he just has to really push in this final stint. He needs to be within 3 seconds of Glenn to take the win here tonight on debut here for the Purple Sector F1 League. That would be an absolutely phenomenal achievement if Badman can bring it home for the dub. So we jump on board here with the 2 Mercedes here battling over P5 and 6. Obviously there's a couple of drivers up ahead who still need to pit, G.C. and T being those drivers, so this could be a battle for the podium places pretty soon. Although in Matty Pitt's case, the podium is looking, well, the possibility of it, I think it's quite scarce at this stage with the nature of that penalty. But he's got DRS here on his teammate, getting him a little bit closer here down towards turn 1, but a little bit too far away. Justify still sat there keeping tabs with these guys and could be there to capitalise if all goes wrong for the guys, for the 2 drivers in front of him, as Matty's still unable to make a move here on Scott at the moment in this battle for 5th place. As Badman here still on the back of T in the fight for the podium places. But obviously T still yet to make his final stop of the race, I believe anyway. Let me just double check that, because I know T has been known to go long sometimes. Oh yeah, he's definitely got a pit. There's no way on earth, not a chance, that he's going to the end on those tyres. And T's picked up another penalty here, trying to run as long a stint as he can here on these hard tyres. Maybe he's trying to get himself into a window where he can run the mediums easily and to the end of the race. But he seems to be desperately struggling here at this stage. Is he going to come in? No, he's staying out. But Badman here is going to be waved through up into third place. Now, what's the gap between Clen and Badman? It's going to be crucial here. 8 seconds is the gap, so it's gone up a little bit with Badman having to deal with some traffic here in the shape of the McLaren. So he needs the gap to be under 3 seconds. He's got 11 laps to close in by 5 seconds overall on 3-lap fresher tyres. So it's certainly doable. I would say it's absolutely on the table here for Badman to win this race. Just needs to take the bull by the horns and really go for it here in his final few laps of the race. It's absolutely there for him tonight. If it depends how much he wants it, but in the meantime, G.C. has a slender lead over Clen. That lead's not going to last long because G.C.'s been on his tyres for ages. Clen only put these on a few laps ago. Oh dear. So we see there G.C.'s come in for his final pit stop of the race. So he's now coming back out onto the track. Medium tyres for G.C. He'll have a slight pace advantage on the guys around him. He has got 6 seconds worth of penalties though. But yeah, at the moment it looks like Clen is still out in front with a 6-second gap over Badman. Badman's closed the gap a little bit over the last lap or so, but not enormously. He needs to be gaining probably about 4/10 a lap at least if he's going to win this race. So he wants to have the gap within 3 seconds by the end. There's Matty Pitt here, all over the back of his teammate Scott. Scott though on course for a podium, although Justified love to ruin that party. Matty Pitt here could play an absolute corker in the team game if he's able to keep Justify behind, because Justify is at the moment a big threat to Scott. But if Matty Pitt can be the meat in the sandwich and keep him at bay with a bit of DRS here that he's got off of his teammate, then Matty could be able to retain his teammate's podium position here. So this could be a fascinating bit of teamwork here. Well, obviously Matty with DRS and Slipstream is able to just sit behind his teammate and be that defensive barrier. But he's currently doing brilliantly here with that strategy, and Justify will be no doubt getting a bit frustrated, but Matty's not going to be bothered about that. He's going to be bothered about making sure that he's doing enough to maximise his team's points total here tonight. And there's nothing that Justify can do about it, and it is one of the most frustrating situations when you're stuck in a DRS train. You've got no hope of making a move down the straights. They're just quick enough through the corners that you can't make a lunge up the inside, and it's just, you're basically just flogging a dead horse, and it is extremely annoying. But unfortunately it is a reality of not just sim racing but also real life F1 racing as well. You see it a lot in real F1 due to the ground effect cars being incredibly difficult to follow, as were the previous generation of cars in all fairness, and these ground effect cars were an attempt to try and work on that particular difficulty. And to be fair, it worked for a year or two, and then development just caused the aero to become complicated in their own way compared to the previous regulations. Very different, but obviously they presented their own challenges, and that then created basically the inability for cars to be able to follow each other up close, similar to what we saw in the previous generation. And nothing's really improved in that regard, has to be said. But Scott at the moment still has this lead over Matty, or rather the gap to him. They're not leading the race overall, but he has got a slight lead over his teammate at this stage in the fight for third place. Justify still looking hot on the heels of Matty, but Justify will probably be starting to figure out now that He's going to have to make this move in one of these corners because down the straights, Matty's got the slipstream in the DRS. If Justified tries to make the move on Matty, he has to then pull out the slipstream and then he loses his straight line speed. So Matty just needs to sit in the toe of Scott and he's sorted. You can guarantee Matty is saying to Scott, stay left, stay left. I'm just going to sit in your slipstream. And Justify's just got no answer to it at the moment. So here they come then. Down the start finish straight here. Beginning of lap 30. 7 laps left to go here at Mexico. We're keeping an eye also on the timing board because Badman has got the gap down to 4 seconds now. And he's gaining about half a second a lap here. So in a couple of laps, he should be within that magical 3 seconds, which he needs to win the race with Clen's penalty. Who knows, at this rate he could even have DRS on the last lap and then we might actually see a fight on the track for the win, and that would be a real treat, wouldn't it? But that is one to watch. I'm keeping a close eye on that gap because it's coming down pretty quickly right now, but we're currently watching this trio fighting for third place, Scott, Matty and Justify. And what a fascinating battle this is here for the podium places. So we can see here the gap. Hello, Nana.
Kit.
Hello. So we, yeah, I'm just commentating on a race. Hello, Madonna. I'm just doing a commentary on a race, Nana.
Okay, darling.
Alright. So Matty here getting a bit closer to the back of Scott into turn 1. But still a little bit too far away at the moment, and he's just trying to keep him under pressure if he possibly can. And Matty again with a bit of DRS, but yeah, I think he is just playing the team game at the moment, has to be said. I think he's not too worried about making this move, and in fact if he were to make the move it would leave his teammate too vulnerable, so I'm pretty sure he is very content to sit in behind Scott and just be that defensive barrier to Justify, as G.C.'s just got a 3-second time penalty there for track limits. Running down in P6, to be fair, he came in for an extra pit stop, didn't he? A late pit stop. So he'll have a big delta. He's also got the medium tyres on, but the mediums haven't really been working around here much, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And they don't last very long either. The mediums seem to be a bit of a bogey tyre around here, a bit like they are at Zandvoort actually as well. They just don't seem to work. They don't last long, they're not very quick. It's just, there's no real advantage to them at all. So Matty here with the DRS. Is he going to make the move on Scott? This is going to be fascinating to see now. No, he's definitely backing out, isn't he? He's definitely coasting when he gets close. So I think that's proof beyond all reasonable doubt now that Matty is playing the team game and is not trying to get one over on his teammate here, at least certainly not tonight with that 12-second penalty. Knows that that's a pretty futile effort to be attempting to attain. But yeah, he's currently still sat behind Scott at the moment and is just backing up Justify, making sure that the V-Carb can't get within striking distance of a podium position. He'll get 4th because Matty's penalty, but that's probably going to be the summit of his ambitions here tonight. Also, Badman is now within 3 seconds of Clen, and with Clen's 3-second penalty, Badman is currently on course to take the win. Obviously barring any penalties for himself. He needs to make sure he doesn't pick up any penalties. Otherwise that will ruin all of his hard work here. So he needs to just make sure he keeps using that tyre delta to his advantage, keep chipping away, but needs to ensure he stays within track limits as well. Otherwise all of his hard work in this final stint will be undone. As in the meantime, Scott there once again keeping ahead of Matty and Justify. Justify unable to put Matty under enough pressure due to this DRS train. The Mercedes drivers are doing an absolutely superb job here of choreographing their positioning on the track, and Matty's gap to G.C. way more than enough to secure P5 here. He'll lose the P4 to Justify, but what he's doing for his teammate Scott here is absolutely instrumental in ensuring that the Merc team get a podium here tonight. And that will be an excellent result there for them, a third and a fifth place. And that would make them the joint highest scorers tonight for tonight's event here in Mexico. Obviously, Williams would be the top scorers with 25 points, but Mercedes would also be scoring 25 points if they can get a third and a fifth place here tonight. Drauga there with a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. As we've got 3 laps left to go, the gap just over 2 seconds between Glenn and Badman at the moment. As Scott, Matty and Justify less, or just about a second separating these 3 guys at the moment. Matty getting a bit closer to the back of Scott as they come down towards turn 1, but he's still just a bit too far away. As they hit the corner once again. Glenn with a 2-second lead over Badman. But Badman on course here to take a win on debut tonight at Purple Sector, and I can't think what the last time that a driver won on debut here in this league. It's got to be a while, because I can't think of it. It doesn't spring to mind. But Badman gaining at quite a bit of a rate here. Could have DRS on the final lap if he continues to gain like he has been over the course of the last few laps. Glenn here doing enough to hold the lead, but Badman is going to be inheriting that lead with the penalties. So let's see what the gap is as they come out of the final corner here. 1.5 seconds. So if Badman can gain 6/10 like he has been over the last few laps here, then he'll have DRS on the final lap. And you can see there how close these two are to each other as they go on the penultimate lap of the race here. Scott has still got Matty Pitt and Justify in his mirrors, but Matty's still doing everything he needs to do to secure a podium for his teammate. As John here is all over the back of Rexiboy, and Rexiboy's got a 3-second penalty. So at this point it looks like John is going to be on course to score that final point here, because Rexiboy, well, he was one of the drivers who managed to avoid a penalty for a lot of this race, but seems to have fallen foul of the stewards towards the end of this one, and that will currently allow John to take P10, so we'll have to keep an eye on this battle. We'll come back to that in a moment, because we've got Badman who's almost within a second now of Glenn as they now come through towards the stadium section, and he's now within DRS, so he's going to have that rear wing open down the main straight, and this could be the lead of the race here for Badman. Here we come then, out of the final corner here at Mexico City. We're about to start the final lap of the race. Here he comes then. It's the debutant driver, the Sauber driver, who's going to be in the slipstream here with a DRS as well. He's going to be getting closer and closer to the back of Glenn. This is going to be a great chance here for Badman to make the move for the lead. He's going to look to the inside into turn 1. Is he? No, he doesn't think about it there. He does. He's not tempted to try and throw a feint up the inside. He'll have another chance here coming out of turn 3 down towards 4, and we'll get another dose of DRS, but Glenn gets a nice enough exit there to be pretty safe here through his section of the track. Badman will get one more dose of DRS towards the corner before the stadium section. It's a very short straight out of the S's, but on these fresh tyres, Badman's on 3-lap younger tyres, his run through the S's is going to be so much superior to Glenn's that he's going to be putting him under tremendous pressure after the S's. So here we go, coming through the S's now for the final time here at Mexico City. Badman is poised and ready to mount an attack here on the championship leader. He could potentially limit the damage that Glenn is able to gain on justifying the championship, as here goes Badman looking to the inside into the stadium. Glenn holds firm, but he's going to now have to defend here coming into the stadium. Is he going to be able to find a way around him here? It's going to be very close. Glenn is going to hold on to the position on the track, but he's got the penalty. He's got the 3-second penalty, which is going to lose him the race win. And in fact, Glenn ceremoniously lets the race winner take the lead. He would have got it anyway due to the penalties, but Badman takes the win ahead of Glenn, who finishes in second place. What a drive on debut here tonight for Badman, you've got to say. that is one heck of an inception, as Scott gets the 3rd place there, with Justify 4th, and Matty drops down to P5 with the penalties. G.C. coming through the final corner here, is going to take P6 here in the end. Not too far ahead of Drauga, who's coming around the final corner here to take 7th place. And then a little way behind Drauga is T, who's going to finish this one in P8. And I'll tell you what, we've got a battle going on here between Street Boy and Rexy Boy. Between Street Boy and John, although it's just over a second. But hold on, John's going to get P9 here because Street Boy has got a 12-second penalty. So not sure what happened to Rexy Boy on that last lap, but he has fallen out of the equation, and John is now going to get 9th place and 2 championship points to his total for this season. So I'm sure he's going to be chuffed with that. Oh, Street Boy's made a mistake coming out of the stadium section, and John there is ready to pounce on that. Through the final corner he comes to take home 9th place. There's Street Boy in P10, and Rexy Boy coming out of the final corner is going to finish this one in 11th place. And that is that then for tonight's action at the Mexico City Grand Prix here, the purple sector. And that is an excellent race there, and a well-deserved winner on his debut here tonight, a purple sector. Badman, top step of the podium, and I'm sure he's going to be absolutely delighted with that. So Badman there, your race winner. Badman is the winner here tonight for round 20 of this season 14 here for purple sector. Ahead of Clen, who's second, the reigning champion and championship leader. Extends his gap, but only by 6 points to Justify, because Badman was there ready to pick up the pieces when Clen got the penalty. So the gap in the championship is now going to be 28 points with 4 races left between Clen and Justify. But Badman, Clen and Scott, your top 3 podium finishers here tonight. And thanks to all the drivers for watching this back. If you did enjoy, then I'm delighted that you enjoyed it. And thanks everybody. We will see you all for the next one. The next race for purple sector will be next Tuesday. It will be the Brazil. It will be the Sao Paulo Grand Prix at Interlagos. So race will be uploaded late on Tuesday night. We'll see you all then. Take care. Good night.